Hello, welcome back to Artisan of Glimmith. I was in the middle of learning about Bricky in yesterday's episode. I think that must be the shortest episode of Artisan of Glimmith I've recorded. I normally can't tear myself away, but I was struggling with Bricky and needed a break, so I'm still doing the Bricky tutorials. This can't be a 1. I mean, none of these can be 1s, right? This can't be a 1 either, actually. And neither can this, because it would make pluses here. And neither can this. And if this is a... Oh. This can't extend... Well, if it... It may extend downward, but if so, it also extends upward. Oh, and if it does that, there's a problem here. I see. Right, okay, I keep... Basically, anytime you see a T shape in a border, you can join up the two regions that it kind of points to, right? That's what I should be doing in these Bricky puzzles. Look for T shapes, join them up. T here, join that. T here, join these. Okay. Look out. If the corner region touches another corner, yes, of course. I was going to do this, but that would be a boxy kind of thing to do, not necessarily a bricky thing to do. Oh, well, but... as they are telling me here, if you go north, this becomes a brick problem. And if you go south, this creates a brick problem. So you do actually have to do this. Now I have some T's I can join. What is the area of this whole grid? How big does it... Well, this 23 has to get pretty big anyway. I have 10, 18, 21. Yeah, I think this is size 28. So I think everything that isn't part of this 2 has to be part of this 23, which I can only do in this way. No, that would be a bricky problem. I could also do it in this way. No, I could also do it in this way. Okay, still not that good at bricky, I guess. Is this the end of the bricky tutorial? It looks like it. And then we get led into an area of bricky puzzles? Yeah. Okay, well, I'm happy to put off bricky. I don't feel very smart about bricky. So I'll just come back later when I'll be generically better at puzzles. What are we doing here? Inequality. Huh. This grid is 5 by 5. I have 4 5 regions with inequalities. Clearly, my 5s must be on the large side of each of these inequalities. And I can't have... Oh, that's not true. Is it? These are all 5s. The grid is 5 by 5. Yeah. Well, but how could it... Oh, I was like, how can this one get to the large side of an inequality? And I guess you don't have to get there with all of them. Okay, but there's no room to put a 6 in here, right? So the 5s can't be... I can't have a 5 on both sides of an inequality. And I can't have a 5 on the small side of an inequality. I need a 5 on the large side of every inequality. And something smaller than 5 on the small side. So this can't go here. It must be like that. This is not correct. Because now there's no way to get a 5 here. This 5, I suppose, could be on the large side of 2 inequalities. That's interesting. So this. It either goes this way, and then like this, in which case it's broken because I can't put a 6 here. Or it goes this way, and then it really does have to do this. So this seems correct, except that this is impossible, isn't it? No! I was assuming, for no particular reason, that these 5s would have to participate in these inequalities. But I suppose there are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cells on either side of these inequalities. And so certainly most of them have to have a 5 involved with them. But I could, for example, do 2 and 1. I think this would be okay. Right? And then you end up like this. And it turns out this one's actually on 2 sides of the inequality, as it turns out. Yeah, okay. Three regions, making up a total of 25. 7, 8, 10, I guess, or something like that. Is sort of natural, but I think just doing the rose window thing is going to be kind of instructive, right? This one has to hug the edge. And so does this one. And then, I mean, I assume I just fill this in, right? 6, 7, yeah, 7, 8, 10. So the 3 rose window regions reach these 3 cells. The smallest is here. Well, which rose window does that get to then? It can't go this way. If it did this, it would be way too big. And if it did this, it would be cutting this off. So it's got to go that way and get to here. Now this must be a different region. And get up. It has to be at least size 5. Actually, it has to be at least size 6, because this is the largest region. So I guess we're looking at this. No. At that. What's wrong with those? There we go. I'm not ready for a 5 just yet. Wow. Yowie zowie. This is a long chain of inequalities. So there are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different regions of different sizes in this puzzle. The triangular number for 8 is 36. Yeah. Guess how big this puzzle is? It's 36. So that makes up all the regions. I have to have a 1 here, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, and an 8. Well, how the heck are we getting to this square, huh? The 3 can't reach, the 4 can't reach, the 5, are you kidding me? So it's got to be the 8 that gets up there, right? Like that? And then it probably has to take all of these cells. Well, has to take that one. Has to take that one. That's 8. Okay, so the 2's got to do that. That's the 3. The 4 needs this cell, which means it needs all of these. This is a 5. Who are you? You appear to be the 7. So the 5 comes in here. Got it. That's a 1, so this is a 2. So this is at least 3. This is at least 4. This is at least 5. This is at least 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. There's another. Well, there's at least 2 cells that are at least 5, or regions that are at least 5 over here. So they take up these 10, let's say. And then I need a 3. They don't, though, because this one... I mean... maybe it could actually come up and join one of these? So that I don't actually have a 4. I just have, like, this is the 5? But that makes this region and this region have to be even bigger. That's probably good. It only means they have to be bigger by, like, 2. Total. And this has to be bigger by, like, 1. Then, if I just had this be a 4. But then I need fewer 5 regions, so I save space that way. And it looks like we're going to be very cramped for space. These 2 could actually be the same region, I suppose. They could both be 3. Oh, wait, these can't join. Because this region is smaller than that one. But it's also bigger than that one. Okay, so this is at least 4. Which means this is at least 5. Okay, so these... But this could be very small. It could be like a 1 for all I know. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, maybe they were right, and I do want a pen. Are you kidding me? This can't be. I guess the 7 could join here. This adds up to 22. But then I also have this 3. That's 25, right? And I think it was required that I make all of these this size. I couldn't have made any of them smaller. I tried joining this up, but I realized it doesn't work. There is a chain of inequalities from here to here to here to here to here. And so they have to be growing. And this adds to 25. That's the entire area. So this region here must be part of a region I've already marked. And the only one that's the right size is this 3. This 6 has to grow. This has to be a 6 or a 7. But I guess if the 7 came over there, the 6 would be trapped, right? Okay. This 4 has to take that. That's my 7. That's my 6. This has to be at least 2. This has to be at least 3. This has to be at least 4. This has to be at least 2. And so does this. Actually, this has to be at least 5. So this has to be at least 6. Might be time to get the pen out again. I don't know that this is 6. I'm writing down some lower bounds. Oops. I got carried away and started writing numbers up instead of down. This grid is 6 by 6 again. That's 36. Which is the triangular number for 8. Ah, indeed. That 5 has to keep growing, so this 6 has to get here, so this has to be a 7 or greater. And I imagine it'll end up having to go here, right? Because this 6 does that. The 5 is finished. The 6 has to keep going. Now the 7 reaches there, yeah, and this is an 8. And this is going to have to be a 1. Oh, it's so big. This has to be at least a 2. That's at least a 2. This is at least a 2, at least a 2. Let's draw lots of 2s until I come up with a better idea. This is at least a 3. That's at least a 2, so this is at least a 3. I sort of suspect I'll find that this is a 4, but who knows, right? Each of these cells is at least 2. So if they were different cells, this would be a problem. In fact, I guess more obviously, these 2 can't be the same region because they'd be both greater than or less than this other region. So that's a 1. And if this is at least a 2, it goes to there. And I know the size comparison between these regions. This is the smaller one, so that's a 3. So this, in fact, is at least 4. It has to go like that. This is a 3, and so now I can make this a 4. Which means this is at least a 5? But this has to also be at least a 5, so they're joining up. This is at least a 6. What? I don't think I can do that. Oh yeah, I can, because this could be a 1. And then I can join here. Nope. This, well, yeah, sure. This has to be large. And it has to be smaller than this, but this could be quite large, that's true. So this ends up being size 8. So this is at least size 9? 3, 5, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9. It has to reach at least there. So this is at least size 10. I could take, yeah, you can't do that or that. So it has to be at least this big. That's quite big. How is this region going to solve? I feel like the only way would be if this actually came all the way to here. Because, let's say I had this, or, well, for that matter, this. Then I can make this a 1, and make this a 2. And then I just have to fit 2 3s in here, and yet it still has to solve uniquely, right? So somehow I must be able to show that the 10 gets all the way in here, and when it does, it's going to have to get to this cell. So I guess I'm going to do that by, I don't know, making this region get to here or something? It's hard to imagine. Nothing's wrong yet, right? Correct, okay. So this is at least 4, so this is at least 5. This is also at least 5. This is at least 6, so that must be where this region stops. Now these regions might be the same, I don't know. There can't ever be anything that would make the 9 plus take this region, or this region. That would just put additional constraints on this. That can't be necessary to solve the puzzle. Can it? No. Because there's no inequalities left that could force themselves into the same region as this 9. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong somehow, but I don't think so. I don't think this region can get to here. Because suppose that it did. This would then be a region of size 7 or more. So this would have to be a region of size 8 or more. But then I would find, no, actually it's a region of size less than 7. Right? These two have to be different regions. So this can't go up that far. The more direct thing I should be looking at is this. This is a 4, so this is at least a 5, so this is at least a 6. So it has to... I proved it can't go down and then up, so it has to just go up. Maybe I was wrong when I proved that? It looks like it has to, doesn't it? Oh, it could go up if it didn't also make it around the horn, right? No, but it can't join up here, right? It can't be on the same side as itself. What? Let me back up to like when I last asked if I was still right. Around here, right? This is at least a 4, so this is at least a 5. And I think I said, oh, this has to just be a 4. And that's true, right? Because if it were here, it would have to be bigger than itself. And it's not allowed to merge here because they already have a wall. So this is a 4, right? Yeah, see? But then this cell has to be at least a 6. Oh, I proved right. I proved that this cell can't get here, but for all I know, it does get to here. So it has to merge like that, and then these are different regions. So this is size at least 7. So I need at least 8. But this has to be even bigger. This has to be at least 9. Meanwhile, this has to be at least 5. But I think it could join up with the 9, right? It probably has to. Yeah, because if you tried not to, you'd have this. And the 9 would never room to expand. So the 8 could stop here. What about the 9? It only has 4 so far. 5. So it can't take just these. It has to... It seems like it could take just this piece here. But I imagine there's going to be some reason that it can't just do that. Oh, wait. No. What? This can't do that. What? Because this has to be in between 4 and 6. Like, it has to be 5, right? This is at least 5, so this is at least 6. But it clearly can't do this, so it has to come down. Maybe I was wrong that I can't do this? But it seems so obvious, doesn't it? Like, how could... If I did this, it would be a region of size 8, so this would have to be at least 9, but it would have to get here and then be less than 8. So I think we have that. And this is a 7. 8, 9. Oh, is there just enough room for this? That's a 5. No, this, like... Right, there's no comparison here. I keep thinking there's a comparison here, but there's not. As long as this doesn't come up. I can make this be an 8 that way. Just barely. And there's space for this to be a 9. 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, is it going to have to join with this? Is that the problem? I don't think so. I mean, if it did join, how gigantic would it be? I already have, what, 7 on the right? And 8 on the left? I'd have to add one more. It would be size 16. Oh, this 9 can't go here. I should have known that. It can't go here either. That's why these have to join. Because this is now only 4, 7, 8. It has to reach there. And now this 9 only has 7 cells. It can't get an 8th here. It could get an 8th here, but it needs its 9th there. Got it. So now this is 4, 8, 12, 16. Meaning this is 17 plus. 3, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So these are each 18 plus. This can't be. Because there's another region that's bigger than either of them. Oh, but I guess they could be 18 and then these could be the same. And there could be another like 19 in between them. How much space do I have in here? This is a 6 by 7 is 42. But I've lost 3 cells of it. I have 39. Gosh, 18 plus 19 seems very close to that. 5, 10, 15, 17. Yeah, okay. So these regions are the same. And then I have a 19 or more in here somewhere. So they're the same, which means to get to each other, they have to hug the edge, I think. Oh, of course. I was thinking that since this doesn't make up exactly 39... that I would have a problem with uniqueness because I could make the 18 region bigger or the 19 region bigger. But that's not true. If I make the 18 region bigger, I need to make the 19 region bigger also. So, well, and I have to do that to get them to fit, right? This ends up having to be 20. Oh, and this is 18? 19. This must be 19. 5, 10, 15, 19. Yes. So that's 19, and that's 20. Fun. Yeah, I wasn't sure how I would be able to force this 9. I mentioned earlier, like, the only way this part of the puzzle is solvable is if I somehow have to push this region all the way up into it. And it turned out a region from here had to be pushed all the way. I mean, it makes sense. That's sort of what I expected, but the details of how it happened were a surprise. Sort of. A 10 and a 15, I'm pretty sure that adds up to 25. So there are only 2 regions in this puzzle. So I can say the 10 is everywhere that I have a smaller symbol. And the 15 is everywhere that I have a bigger symbol. Let's use green. It's a little more distinct from blue than purple is. So these join. These don't. This 15 has to hug the edge to get back, and so does this one. This one has to get through here, and we're done? Probably? Yep. Nope. How about that? Nope. Okay. Let's actually, like, do the puzzle. There. Palisade inequality. Well, that's cute. Well, this has to be at least a 2. Could these 2 be the same region? I think so. They're both smaller than this, but... Oh. They're both smaller than this. So this must be quite a large region, because this takes up at least size 4, right? So this region has to be at least size 5. And this region takes at least size 6. How big is this puzzle? 8, 13, 17? So 5 and a 6, that's 11. I mean, I could fit a separate region here, I guess. That would be different from both of those. It's a little difficult, but possible. So how does this 6 grow? If it wants to avoid joining this region, it's fairly restricted, right? Oh, also, didn't I say this has to be at least 5? So it just has to do that. That's easy. So the 6 has to do at least, well, no, it could join up here. But okay, this 5 is done. Which means this region has to be smaller than 5. It has to be the minimum possible size for one of these things. It has to be a 4. It can't join here. It's got to do that. And then we're done. It took me a while to notice a couple of really obvious things there. So I guess they weren't obvious. These can't be connected because they'd be both greater and larger, or smaller than this region. Likewise here. This region has to be smaller than this one, but it has to be at least size 4 to get all of its cells. So this one has to be at least size 5. So this has to be at least size 6. That's difficult. So, if it's at least size 6, it has 3 shape cells, a blue, a red, and a yellow. But it still needs at least 3 blank cells, right? So it has to get to here. Which it could do by like this, or I don't know, like this or something. So I don't know how it gets here, but it does. I guess it can't come down. It can't grab this. And then go, oh, well, it could. I'm trying to figure out how to make sure I don't isolate this blue. This blue needs to get to a yellow and a red. These are the obvious ones. But that's not forced. Can this be any bigger than 4? Maybe that's a question. If it were 5, this would have to... I'm not sure how much I can do over here. It would be nice if I could prove this were so big it had to go over here. But I guess it obviously can't, right? Ah. Well, no, it could. There's 2 of each symbol up here. I somehow thought there weren't. Could this... Yeah, like this could come here and this could do there. That's just possible. So I could maybe prove that this is at least size some... I don't know, but... This could be as large as like size 8, potentially. If it came down and did this. Even bigger if it wanted to grab some of these cells. It can't, right? Right. Because this orange has to get out. It might grab this yellow and it might not, but it can't go through the other orange. It has to go that way. And likewise for this one. So we either have this come down, and then that's this whole area sorted. Or we have this come down, and again, it's this whole area sorted. I guess we might do this. And leave one cell to spare. There's nothing that could make me take this cell, I guess, right? Because if this cell is available, let's say I had this. There are several solutions, right? I could do this. Oops. Oh no, something could make me take this cell. I could do that. I'd have to do that now. Right. Right. Which red does this blue get to? Not that one. And if it tries to grab one of these, this blue... Well, one of these reds would be... This red would be stranded. So these two have to work together. And if I did this, there'd be no constraint on which yellow I could take. So I guess I must not do that. This must be part of the solution. Because the solution is unique. Oh, I know the size of this within fairly tight bounds. It's size 7 or maybe at most 8 if it takes this cell. Oh, but it can't take this cell. This yellow needs to get to a blue. And in fact, the only blue it can reach is this one. So it's got to grab this red and this blue. And now I know the exact size of this region. It's 7, which is bigger than this. So this might be as big as 6, but it's not as big as 7. So it doesn't get to here. So this has to find a home. And I claimed that this purple has to get to here, so this yellow could get to there, but only if it joined the purple region. And what if it didn't join the purple region? How would it find a blue? It would have to cut off the purple region from getting to here. So in fact, it is part of the purple region. Which means we have to go through there. And now I know how blue gets to some of its blank spaces, at least. Specifically this one. I mean, I think it's going to end up having to take these two cells, but... Oh, it can't. It can't take this cell because it's already in a relationship with this region. It can't be in two different relationships. That's illegal. Two opposite relationships anyway. So now it's size 6. But it might, and it can't reach there. So it is exactly size 6. Greater than this. So this is size 5. So this is smaller than that for what it's worth. And this is smaller still. I mean, this can be at most size 4, right? So this has to be size 3, which means it goes there. But not here. I don't know which blue it grabs necessarily. This is like the area of interest, I think. Because if I could connect these or show that they're not... Like, if I can connect these, I'm having a weird time, I think. Yeah. Well, okay, let's ask a different question. What blue does this yellow reach? Not this one. Because then this yellow's trapped, right? So it's got to be this one. So these are the same region. Which means these are also the same region, although a different one. I wish you wouldn't do that. And I still don't know which way this goes. But I think I do, actually. Because suppose these join up. This region must be size 5, at least. Which means it could grab its 3 friends, but it can't get out into any blank spaces up here. So to get its second blank space, it would have to go here, but then it would have to be... Or I guess I'm arguing from the wrong point of view, from this one. Same argument, though. It could get 1 blank cell here, 3 symbol cells, then it needs another blank cell. Well, wait a minute. No, it could do that. It could do this, couldn't it? And then this could be... No, this... I see. If I do this, this is a 4. And there's no way this region can be a 3. It would have to be inside a symbol already. So these regions do not merge. And therefore these do not merge. This has to be less than size 4. Okay, that one was a struggle. I mean, like... At least I didn't make a bunch of errors, but... Compared to some of the other stuff I've been doing in here, most of the inequalities have been simpler than that one was. This is at least 1, clearly. This is at least 2, this is at least 3. This is at least 4? Okay. This is also at least 4. These are at least, of course. If this went here, then this would have to be at least 5, but also at most 3. So it doesn't do that. If this went here, this would have to be at least 5, but also at most 3. So it doesn't do that. It seems natural that you would eventually arrive at this must be a 5, but I don't see a way to get there yet. These could each be pretty small. This one has to be at least size 2, but that's not saying much. Yeah, I'm not sure where to go because... Well, okay, maybe I should start trying to limit the size of this region. Like, if this were actually size 5, would I have problems? Maybe. Because then this would have to be a 6, like so. This would also have to be at least 6. So it couldn't touch here. It would have to take all of these. And then I'd end up needing a 7 here that couldn't touch this. Or this. Or this. I think this just works, actually. 1, 2, 1, 5, 1, 1. Yeah, but I don't know how I was supposed to get there. I just sort of said, well, would it cause any problems? And the answer turned out to be no. If I'd found out that it caused a problem, I wouldn't have even been able to draw in any specific walls, because I would just know this can't be a 5, but maybe it could be a 4. So maybe what I could have done would be like this. Say, could it even take this cell? This would then be a 4, at least. So this would have to be at least a 5, which means it would have to join up with this. But, like, so what? I don't know. So I guess this is a 5. I mean, I solved the puzzle, but I don't know why. Okay, I think it's enough for me in Inequality Land. I'm starting to feel like I don't really want to grind out a bunch of puzzles of one type anymore. I don't know if it's just a mood thing or what. Am I tiring of Artisan of Glimmith? I want to get to Loopy and see what Loopy's all about. I mean, I guess I should really be done for today, I guess. But let's see what this is. Oh, is this... Or there was... Somewhere there was a blue light, wasn't there? Here. It's not loopy, it's a difference. Alright, well, another day. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.